Welcome back to the channel, my fellow investors. My name is Ishaan, and in this video I want to make the claim that Microsoft is one of the best stocks to own forever. In this video we're going to be diving in depth into all their massive numbers that they've put up, along with a full discounted cash flow model to show you guys how undervalued Microsoft really is. And along with that, I'll briefly cover Microsoft's full technical analysis at the end of the video, its price prediction, and the potential best areas to be buying into the stock. With that being said, all I ask in return is that you stick around till the end of the video because we have a ton to cover, and let's jump right in. Now, the reason I love Microsoft stock and why I could hold it forever is because of their diversification, with the obvious being into cloud. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, was really smart to hop onto this trend, and it's really elevated the company to new levels along the years. The big thing about cloud businesses is that they're very profitable. That's the whole reason Amazon is even able to put out a profit year after year. Last quarter, server products and cloud services revenue increased 34%, driven by Azure's revenue growth of 51%, and commercial cloud revenue grew 30% to $19.5 billion. And then full year commercial cloud revenue increased 34% to $69.1 billion. And on that cloud revenue, they have gross margins of 70%, so you can really see how this business is such a cash cow, really bringing them a lot of money. But what makes Microsoft even more powerful is the services that they offer. What you're beginning to see amongst companies like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft is that they're purchasing smaller, minor companies and trying to create a basket of services that they can push to different companies, and also then further upsell their cloud services so that these companies essentially get hooked onto their services and can't go back. As an example, Microsoft currently has their Office 365 business with 51.9 million subscribers, and a big reason the stock even hit all-time highs is because they announced that they would be raising the subscription prices for Office 365, meaning a boost in revenues. Then Microsoft even has Power Automate software. This has made them one of the big leaders in the RPA market according to Gartner. It essentially helps business automate repetitive tasks through bots and AI. And the way I see it, they're creating a basket of various different products that they can offer to companies that they can then upsell them on to their cloud and essentially make them more reliant on Microsoft across the years. Now, comparing Microsoft to other companies, the only one that comes to mind is good old Google. Now, the reason I like Microsoft a lot better than Google is because of their pre-built connections and relationships that they've built over the years, which is something I don't see a lot of people talking about at all. Since the legacy days, Microsoft has created a lot of relationships with enterprises and governments that has created the foothold that we see today. I mean, they even went as far as to win a massive cloud contract with the government before Amazon ruined it all. Now, Microsoft, according to Gartner, is currently better than GCP, but Google Cloud has the appeal of being slightly cheaper. However, Azure has a far bigger data center infrastructure, and Microsoft's cloud actually provides discount models to current pre-existing customers, which can make it a more attractive option, which really just reiterates my previous point. Then taking a look at the balance sheet, Microsoft has assets of $334 billion versus liabilities of $192 billion, and they have so much cash that they returned $10.4 billion to shareholders last quarter in the form of share repurchases and dividends. So if the market ever crashes or the economy ever crashes, this is a company that can sustain its business along with potentially repurchasing shares at cheap levels to create a base for the stock to prop it up. And then Microsoft even has quarters wrapped around their finger through their purchase of GitHub. They have their Xbox division, which is doing really well, and overall Microsoft is a leader everywhere. And a big thing about Microsoft that I also really like is the fact that they have a really good brand. If you take a look at Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Google, they're facing antitrust lawsuits, monopoly lawsuits, but Microsoft has been sheltered from that, especially due to the fact of their diversification and the fact that they're not data tracking, they're not involved in a lot of those shady stuff. And so I strongly believe that Microsoft will be protected from potential future regulatory measures against these large tech companies. Now, I will admit that Microsoft seems a little pricey at these levels, you know, a 37 PE ratio, 17 price to sales, but now let's jump into Microsoft's discounted cash flow model so that you can get an understanding and really see for yourself that the stock indeed is actually not that overvalued. Now, taking a look at the DCF model that I created for Microsoft, we can see that it's still undervalued. Taking a look at the growth rate, we got our growth rates, we got our future projected growth rates, which I mainly got through analyst estimates. Then we got got our net income, and we can see our net income growth rates, and I kind of projected net income growth would continue to grow at least by 15% year over year till 2031, where they would be generating approximately 247 billion in net income. Now this is a pretty conservative number, and it kind of keeps in line with a bunch of analysts and what they were projecting as well, so I kept it at a 15% growth rate per year for net income. As for their free cash flow, we got our free cash flows from 2017 to 2021, then we calculated our free cash flow to net income rate, right? And so the average, I saw that we were averaging 97, 100, 91, so I just went with 95% to be conservative for 2022, because I assumed that the reason it dropped to 91% last year was the fact that there were probably pandemic associated costs. That's why the net income, the free cash flow net income kind of dropped, but 95, 98, and then all the way up to 100 to generate approximately $247 billion in free cash flow by 2031. Then here's where things get interesting. I'm going to be using a discount rate of 8%, perpetual growth rate of 2%, which is the average of the 10-year treasury yields. Right now, as of me making this video, current price is 299.7, shares outstanding 7.51 billion. So basically taking all the free cash flow numbers, discounting it to the present to find the present value of all those free cash flow numbers, we got them all right over here with a terminal value of approximately 3.1 trillion, which brings us to a present value of approximately 1.581 trillion for the terminal value, which is essentially Microsoft's valuation beyond the future, which we can't really project. So adding that all up, we got a total equity value of $2.497 trillion, which divided by the total number of shares that they have, that means that Microsoft's current equity value share should be $232.54, meaning right now at a current price of 299.7, Microsoft is trading at an 11% discount. Now I was extremely conservative with my numbers and got an 11% discount, but if we actually take a look at analyst ratings, most analyst ratings also believe around that 326 level, 330 level, with the highest price target to being around 411. So if I had been a little less conservative with my numbers, let them flow a little more, Microsoft, I believe, is easily a $350 to $400 stock. I mean, we're looking at a price of 332 just to be fairly valued. And in today's current market, what stock isn't trading above their fair value, especially a company like Microsoft that in my opinion deserves such a valuation considering their extremely healthy balance sheet, their growth rates, and their market leadership. So overall, extremely undervalued. Alright, so taking a look at Microsoft's technicals on this 4-hour chart, we can see I've been forming higher highs and higher lows for basically the longest time. Continue validating this bottom diagonal support line and top resistance line. We even have this kind of like mini channel in this way right over here, kind of mini channel along the way, and we've kind of broken below it. And so at this point, I truly believe that Microsoft probably pulls down to about 294. This is where we had a previous level of resistance in this area right over here. So I believe that Microsoft probably pulls back down till there before it finds any meaningful level of support, and it also happens to be at our bottom diagonal support line of this higher high and higher low channel. So I think 294, 295 is the next level that Microsoft pulls back down to. And so at that point, Microsoft has continued to validate the support line for a while now, so I would potentially look to be adding into that. So overall, this 294 level is the next level to watch. Then from there, I think Microsoft then pushes even higher, potentially all the way up to that price target level of approximately 310. You can see that 310 happens to be at about that next level at this top diagonal resistance line. So I think if you can form a higher low and continue bouncing higher and you buy into that bounce, then I could see Microsoft potentially heading all the way up to 310. Now let's say there's a big market rotation, which I highly doubt happens. In that situation, then Microsoft stock could probably drop down here to approximately 284, 285, where we had a previous level of support down over here. I think we come down and bounce down over here before our next leg up. So with that being said, guys, that's the video on why I believe Microsoft is a stock that I could hold forever. If you enjoyed this in-depth video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to learn technical analysis for yourself and a ton of more advanced trading strategies, be sure to go get my new book, A Technical Trader's Handbook, on Amazon. And I'll see you guys in the next one.